Hey, what's going on, guys? Yesterday we were talking about the marketing tricks that companies use when they put labels on their food, on the boxes, and so today we're going to talk about the actual nutrition label located on the back of the package. So just to reiterate, of course, companies spend millions of dollars on their marketing tactics to add words to their label so that it can trick you into the latest health fad. You know, gluten-free, well, you can go through the list on the other video. But the one thing that they can't get around is the ingredients on the nutrition label. Like, there's no way to get around it. They have to put exactly what's in the product. The problem is there's some definitely tricks to the trade when it comes to putting the ingredients on the back for the label. So hopefully you'll get something out of this video. I would definitely write it down. It's going to be my top 5 words to look for as far as looking at the nutrition label. But I want to first start by kind of explaining briefly kind of what goes into the nutrition label. So when you look at the ingredient list on that nutrition label, the companies have to list in descending order by weight what the ingredients are. So for instance, if you see sugar or sodium as one of the first items on the ingredient list, then you automatically know that that's a no-go for that food. And sugar and sodium are going to be the most, that ingredient is going to be the most that's in that product. So the lower on the list, the better, especially when it comes to things like sugar and sodium. The problem is companies have found some tricks of the trade as far as, you know, trying to break up sugar and sodium into the ingredient list. That way you kind of get confused because it becomes a science experiment at that point, and it's kind of hard to decipher when you're going through it. I mean, literally I think they said there's over 50 words that a company can use for their sugar. So you could look at a label and it might not say sugar at the very beginning. Sugar might be towards the end, but there's words like glucose, fructose, sucralose. Those are sugar. I mean, those are artificial sugars as well. So whenever you see all those words on a list, I mean, you got to combine those with just the plain old word sugar when you're looking at the product. Same goes with sodium. Like they can, or salt, sodium. They can kind of disguise those words as well. So again, when you're looking at the nutrition label, it's so much easier to actually research what the words are instead of just like looking at it and saying, well, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to eat it anyway. So again, kind of identify exactly what's in the product before you buy it, and especially before you eat it. So my top 5 words to look out for when you're looking at the nutrition label. Number 1, GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. So GMOs. GMOs get a lot of press because of how bad they are. And essentially GMOs, it's processed food. I mean, always the rule of thumb is if you're able to eat fresh foods, you don't really have to worry about GMOs for the most part. But again, GMOs is definitely a word you want to look out for when it's on the ingredient list. If you see that, especially high on the list, try to avoid that food if you can. Number 2, food coloring. So with food coloring, it adds a savory flavor to the food. I mean, that's why companies put it in there. It's not just to do it for no reason. It definitely adds a certain taste to the food. The problem is a lot of countries at this point have banned food coloring because they're finding that it leads to a lot of hyperactive behavior in kids, which obviously is going to translate to when they become adults as well. So countries have kind of banned that. I don't think the U.S. is on that list. So, but look for no artificial food coloring when it comes to products. But if you see food coloring, definitely try to stick away from that because we don't really know what it's doing to the inside of our body. So number 3, MSG. Obviously that goes along with the sodium and salt. You'll see MSG a lot in pre-made soups, pre-made stocks, sauces, crackers are big with MSGs. And again, that is stuff that just stores inside your body, and your body doesn't do a good job of breaking that down. So, but with anything fresh, you don't have to worry about MSGs. So I know it's super easy, especially with soups. I'm guilty of this, of just getting a can of soup and just using that for your meal. But you know, a fresh made soup, as much work as it is, it tastes so much better, and you get to make as much of it as you want, because obviously it can store for a couple days in the fridge. So, but again, you get to add exactly what veggies that you like, or meats, whatever you want to add to it. So, you know, when you're doing soups, try to do it not from a can. If you can make sauces, that's even better than buying the pre-made sauce. Again, this takes a little extra work, but it goes a long way for your personal health. So avoid MSGs when you can. Number 4, I'm going to mess up this word when I say it, propinate. It's Propinate, propinate. But this is what you find this in breads, essentially, any kind of breads, and that's why, you know, you want to stay away from breads in general because of the grain part of it, but because of this ingredient that's actually in it, and it helps preserve the bread. I mean, you know, bread can last a lot longer with this in it, and so companies are going to put it in there because, you know, the bread has to stay on the shelf for a long time, and then when you take it home, it needs to last a little bit longer. So that's why companies do it. But whenever you make your own bread, like if you've ever made homemade bread before, obviously you see that it doesn't last as long as like store-bought bread, and there's a reason for that, because you're not putting that crap in there. So try to avoid breads as much as possible unless you make them yourself, and then when you make them yourself, still in moderation, but you want to make sure you don't eat too much on the breads. All right, and then number 5, nitrates and nitrites. You'll find this a lot in meats at the grocery, pickled veggies as well. They'll put that in there again to help preserve them. But it does cause, for a lot of people, they're starting to figure out this causes IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which if you know anybody that has IBS, they can tell you how much of a nightmare that is. So nitrates and nitrites essentially are a cause for IBS. So that's enough for me not to want to use it. So so again, GMOs, watch out for those. Food coloring, MSG, propinate, and nitrates and nitrites. Those are the 5 that you want to watch out for on the ingredient list, or if you can find it where it says no GMOs, no nitrates, you know, that's obviously going to be a lot better for you. So again, just a quick dive into the food labels on this one. We're going to set up a time where Kelly and I go to the grocery store, and we want everybody to come with us, and you can ask us questions with the different foods that you like, even if it's stuff that you shouldn't be eating, but you're going to have anyways. Maybe we can help you steer clear of some certain brands and some certain products that you shouldn't be eating. So if you're interested in that, shoot us a like, comment below. We'll let you know when we're setting that up, and yeah, we will see you guys soon. All right, thanks guys.